acredita em ETs? Hoje a gente vai conversar com uma das personalidades mais famosas da série Alienígenas do passado, uma série que une fatos históricos e teorias para provar que não apenas fomos visitados por alienígenas, como eles vieram muitas vezes. Giorgio Tsoukalos, it's such a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to meet you.
I've been watching you for so many years. Let's start with the beginning of your life. When was your first interest about the topic of aliens?
So I have to say that the plant was seeded by my grandmother. When I was a little boy, 5 or 6 years old, she used to read bedtime stories to me, and from time to time she would change it up and she would read Erich von Däniken or Chariots of the Gods. And when I was 12, 13, I rediscovered the books by Erich von Däniken.
And you read it by yourself,
yes.
Right?
And here we are. Why I'm doing this is because, I had the great opportunity to travel around the world with my parents, because growing up, they were avid travelers. They still are avid travelers. And they made sure that we would go wherever we went, not only to the museums, but also to ancient sites. And, in combination with reading these books, I fairly early came to the conclusion that there is something about these books that is rooted in truth.
So how did you got into the show? How did that happen?
If you remember, in 2008, the new Indiana Jones movie came out. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I one day walked into my office and there was a voicemail by the production company Prometheus Entertainment, the same production company that now makes Ancient Aliens. And they were commissioned at the time by Lucasfilm to do a 2-hour documentary about the reality behind Indiana Jones. So I agreed to appear on the show. They talked about the Ark of the Covenant, the Shankara stones, the Holy Grail, and then in the last segment, we talked about the crystal skulls. When the production company asked, hey, can we have the script, please, so we know what we can talk about in the documentary, Lucasfilm said, absolutely not. It's a secret, but we will send you the poster. And then the owner of the production company, Kevin Burns, he saw the poster and the first words out of his mouth were, Chariots of the Gods. This is an E.T. movie, because if you remember the poster, it's Indiana Jones, and in the bottom there's the crystal skull, but the crystal skull has the oval eyes and the elongated shape of the head.
Yes.
And sure enough, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull turned out to be an ancient astronaut movie. And the treasure that they brought was not material treasure, but it was information, it was knowledge. And this is what I'm talking about, that at some point, all of our ancestors, not just in Latin America or in Africa, but all of our ancestors, we received knowledge.
Yeah.
And the ancient people tell us where this knowledge came from. Someone descended from the sky.
We're like hybrids, and I was wondering, do you believe in souls and reincarnation?
Of course.
So, do you believe maybe the souls, they come from other planets?
Very good, because how reincarnation is currently taught by many teachers is that reincarnation only happens on planet Earth. I think it's much bigger, that reincarnation happens throughout the entire universe.
Yeah.
And so that when we are back on Earth, the last time we were here maybe was 2,000 or 5,000 years ago. So for example, I have never been to Bolivia before, from about 30 years ago. And then I went for the first time and I felt like I was home. Now, how is this possible that I've never been to a place and all of a sudden I feel like I'm home before even knowing how I'm going to feel there? So this could be contributing evidence in the support of reincarnation.
So do you know much about the Brazilian happenings and sightings and...
I've spoken to many ufologists today who have told me about multiple UFO sightings here and that it's a hot spot.
Yes.
Or that there is this case 20 years ago where apparently there was an ET Varginha or
ET
something.
Varginha.
Something like yes?
Yes.
Another thing I find fascinating are the stories of the chupacabras.
Chupacabras.
You know, so that's very interesting.
I think it had an episode about the chupacabras.
Yes, yes,
right?
we've addressed that as well. Also, recently there has been a discovery in the Amazon on top of a hill, like an old Stonehenge. Not the same, but something similar.
Yeah.
And then, and this is what I find the most fascinating, in northeastern Brazil, next to Paraíba, there is a stone called Inga. And on this stone, there are these symbols, these hieroglyphs, that to this day, nobody knows what they mean, number one. And number two, even the archaeologists have no clue which native Brazilian culture carved this stuff.
Oh my God.
And some of those symbols look like alien heads.
Do you have like places you still want to visit around the world that you know that might have sightings or something special about it?
Yes.
Because you traveled so much, right?
I have, yes, but there's still places like, for example, I have never been to Cambodia, to Angkor Wat.
Yeah.
I would love to go there because Angkor Wat has a rich history of that place having been built with the assistance of the gods as well. And by the way, each time I say gods, it's lowercase g, has nothing to do with God. It's just a misinterpretation of advanced technology that our ancestors regarded as magic. But we all know that magic in that sense does not exist. The only magic that exists is love, or when you give birth to a child, that's magic. But magic, like David Copperfield or David Blaine, all those magic things have to do with technology, technological tricks.
Totally. If you show like a lighter to an ancient Indian that probably never saw one, would be like, oh my God.
It's magic. And the moment that you would tell that person, no, this is technology, they would stop worshiping the fire because it's technology.
So do you have a favorite thing that you saw that touched you in a really exciting way, that was like, I know you have the pin of the plane, that is one of the things that I'm crazy about, and also Puma Punku I love also, but do you have a favorite one?
Puma Punku.
It is, right?
And you know, I've been there now so many times, and I've just been there last October, so almost a year ago, and every time I go there, last time I took a group of about 30 people, and it's always a special experience. And if you or anyone watching this right now has not yet gone, I encourage you to do whatever you can to go, because it is one of the most inexplicable places on the planet, and it is unparalleled with any other ancient site. You know, I think that you have to be ready for these ideas, and if you're not, then I can tell you everything under the sun and you will still say, yeah, okay, but where's the evidence?
Giorgio, I could stay with you talking for hours for at least once a week.
Wonderful.
But unfortunately, we have to quit our interview because it's time now to say, people, you have to watch Alienígenas do Passado with this amazing man and learn more about this amazing subject. Bom, para continuar esse papo super interessante e curioso com o próprio Giorgio Tsoukalos, não perca Alienígenas do Passado no canal History. You're awesome.
All right.
Your Portuguese is amazing. How come?
No, it's not.
You have to
thank
come
you for the
more
compliment.
often. Can I hug you?
Yes.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course.
I've been wanting to have this conversation with all of